Hello there, superhumans. I'm Sally, and this is Miracles of Consciousness Radio. This video is going to be talking about how do you get over regrets, because regrets can build over time, and if you layer them up, they can also build so much it almost begins to feel like you can't get forward in life. Now, in addition to that, what's exciting about the audio files that I've come across that I'm going to share with you is one. The first one is Daryl Anka. Now, most of you know that he channels Bashar, and he is talking to a person in the audience who is struggling on how to get over regrets. And I'm also going to be bringing in Cynthia Larson. Now, she is a doctor. This is an audio file. She has a doctorate in quantum physics, and she talks about quantum leaping and how you can quantum jump your reality. So the reason I'm bringing the two together is that they're both saying the same thing. Bashar is saying from a spiritual perspective, while Cynthia Larson is coming to you from a science perspective. At the end, we're going to be giving the QHHT practitioner point of view and how it marries with what we've learned doing hypnosis with people all around the world. So it's important to keep in mind that anything that you are currently dealing with, if it's old stuff that you've already dealt with, we can actually clear those out energetically. We can do that either through hypnosis or we can do it through energy healing. So if for those of you that are looking to do some energy healing, but you're not quite sure how well it'll work, I do offer 25 minutes for $25. It's on my website, sallyknott.com, under sessions offered. Check that out if you just want to dip your toe in to see how well it works. Now, let's get into Bashar. Again, he is talking to a person in the audience who is struggling with how do you get over regret. The one thing that Bashar brings up in here, and I will highlight it, so be paying attention to it. He's talking about what have you learned. That is very important, because if the subconscious mind actually has learned something, it can allow it to go. And this is what we talk about in quantum healing hypnosis. One of the big questions is, has the person learned anything? If the answer is yes, are you ready to let it go? Yes. It is the intention of letting it go. And the cool thing is, you don't have to spend a lot of money to do this. You can do it from your own home, from your own bed, if you understand the right questions to ask, and we'll get to that at the end of the video. For now, I'm going to share several minutes of this audio file of Bashar, but please listen to it to the end. And then we're going to do next Cynthia Larson, and she's going to bring in the science aspect of it. So it's really cool how we marry all this together, and it's exciting. So here we go. Let's listen together.
Okay. Say that again. You had a sexual experience when you were a kid.
Yes.
That you regret.
All right.
And because of that,
Yes.
I'm still not all the way pure.
All right. So let me ask you this question. Are you that kid now?
No.
So why are you continuing to recreate that experience in your present?
I think it's so sad.
Why are you choosing to continue to recreate that experience in your present if you're not that person anymore? Did you learn from it?
But
did you learn from that experience that you preferred something different?
I'm not sure that I all the way believe that I'm not that kid, because
all right,
society
we'll get to
tells
that
us.
in a moment.
Yes.
We'll get to that in a moment. Answer this question first. Did you learn something from that experience that allowed you to realize that you prefer something different? Yes or no?
Yeah.
All right. So are you applying that new knowledge in your life now? What you learned, are you behaving in a different way?
Am I behaving in a different way? Yes.
All right. So doesn't the new behavior supersede what happened in the past?
What does supersede mean?
Take the place of. Doesn't it replace what happened in the past because you have learned from it and are now applying a new behavior? Doesn't that make you a different person?
I want to say yes.
Why do you want to say yes?
Because
it feels better, doesn't it?
it does feel better.
Then why not believe it, regardless of what society says? Why not believe you are a different person now?
Because society makes me feel wrong.
Because society says what?
They make me feel wrong, or they make me feel...
They don't make you feel anything. They may suggest how you could make yourself feel, but if you don't prefer to feel that way, why are you agreeing with them? Because you're the one making yourself feel what you're feeling. No one else can make you feel anything.
That's right. So
I know.
I just practice. So is there a way to get there? Is it probably by follow my highest excitement that eventually...
The formula will help,
Okay.
but you also have to really understand how things work, what the structure of existence is like. Everything exists here and now.
Mm-hmm.
You understand that time is an illusion?
Yes.
Even your scientists understand this now. Yes? It's not real. It's a side effect. Time is a side effect of your consciousness shifting through billions of parallel reality moments every second. So if everything exists here and now, the only way you can experience what appears to be different moments is by actually shifting your focus within the now to a different now, which means you're a different person. Because everything that changes in the now changes everything in the now. It's not the same reality from one moment to the next, literally. Otherwise, you wouldn't have the experience of time. So the idea is that you literally are a different person when you change anything about yourself, and you're becoming a different person billions of times a second. So it's not about the idea of learning how to change. It's about the idea of realizing that you're constantly changing and constantly a different person in a different reality, in a different version of Earth, moment to moment to moment to moment to moment to moment to moment. And you get to say what you are, what person you are, how you define yourself every single moment. So you get to choose. As I just said, your greatest power is the freedom to choose who you prefer to be. And it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks you should be. They're not living your life. They're not your reality. You are your own universe. So be who you prefer to be. Define yourself as you prefer to. Behave as you prefer to, knowing that it's just as real as anything else you've ever done, because that wasn't actually you. You have to understand that everything exists at the same time, which means every single moment is actually about a different person. So even though you might have this illusion of continuity, that younger person was you, it isn't you. It's a different person. You're a different person than that you. It's not the same you. It may look like you may be creating a continuity that makes it seem like there's a continuous stream between that younger you and this particular you, but there isn't. That's an illusion. That's a different person. It's not you. You've changed, and therefore you're a different person, literally. Yes?
Yes.
That's how it works. So be the person you know you are now, instead of recreating the idea that you are still a person you've never been. You've never been that person. Now that you are defining yourself in this way, that definition literally makes you a completely different person who has never been that other person. This is what we call the 13th step. This is the idea of the true understanding that every change is total change, and that things are changing, as I said, billions of times per second.
So that was the audio of Bashar, and I will leave a link in the description box below to go to some of the videos that Bashar has done. And I think it's important to maybe follow him if you don't. Some of the things will resonate with you, some won't. But for those little tidbits that what he comes up with, it can be very small and very intricate, but then it can be also life-changing to many people. So again, I'll just leave a link for him in the description box below. Now, the thing to take away from what he's saying is, remember that every thought you think, and I say it over and over again, you control your own thoughts. And everything that we experience in life first begins there as a thought. The emotion that that thought evokes is something that we can control. If there's something unpleasant in that thought that you're thinking and now feeling, you need to stop right there and say, no more. And then you let it go and you restate that thought to a positive thought by using the word I am, and then fill in the blank that is right for you. Now, the next audio file is coming from Cynthia Larson. Again, she has a doctorate in quantum physics, and she talks about, she's a best-selling author, spiritual life coach, and quantum physicist, and she talks about how people can quantum jump. And it's interesting how she sort of marries in, this is sort of tying in the Mandela effect. So for those of you who may be like me, who remember the monocle on Monocle Man on Monopoly game, now we look in history that never, ever, ever existed, and that's just some figment of somebody's imagination, which it was not, because my family and my friends, we all remember Monocle Man, but now they're saying, oh no, it didn't exist. It simply means that we've been through a quantum shift, different timeline. The other thing too, as I am pointing this stuff out, if you had watched one of my other videos with RJ Spina, you will also know that he talks about Chicago not being there in his next incarnation. But remember, his timeline is not your timeline. And that way the universe is very user-friendly if you know how to use it. We'll tie that up at the end. All right, now we're going on to Cynthia Larson, and she's going to be talking about timeline jumping. Again, this is an audio file. I'll leave a link in the description box below for this information so you can review it on your own. Here we go.
Probably where the space is more intriguing for the moment. Yeah, like timeline jumping. Can you explain timelines and timeline jumping?
That's a way to mentally picture what might be going on. So it's a way of envisioning. Timelines are similar. They're kind of analogous to the many worlds interpretation of quantum physics that was first recommended by Hugh Everett III. So he was basically hypothesizing that there might be many possible realities and that we're in one of many. So within that kind of a framework, you can then imagine timelines where every choice you make, every question that you're asking the participatory universe, you're getting an answer. And without even consciously noticing it, you're guiding yourself down a particular course of, it's like train tracks where each juncture there's a choice, a decision point, and you're choosing. So those timelines, when you start looking at where you are now, and maybe at some point along the way, you might notice, wow, I've got an injury. I don't like this injury. I'd love some spontaneous healing. I'd love to jump to another timeline where I don't have this injury, for example. Is that doable? Yes, that's doable. And this is the sort of thing people can acknowledge that, first of all, it's possible, have an open mind to the idea. It really helps if you can at least permit yourself to experience such a thing. For people who say, like, that's not possible, well, they're decreasing the odds that they'll experience it. That's the main thing. People who are open to it are more likely to experience it. So that helps. And then having a very positive attitude helps. Bringing some energy to the whole thing really helps. I recommend laughter and joy, love, a real open sense of open-heartedness. And if you're capable of being in service to something greater than yourself, wow, then you've really accessed a lot of energy. The whole thing becomes extremely probable at that point, and you can actually make that jump to the other timeline that's desired by being in higher service, having that sense of joy, lightness, laughter, and just knowing that you'd be really appreciative, just so grateful to be on that timeline. And that's basically the ingredients for making that quantum jump.
It's there's a question in there for me around, I'm not exactly sure how to frame it, escapism versus timeline jumping, because I'm sure sometimes things get difficult. Do you find some people are running away from problems rather than running towards, are you running towards a solution, I guess? But that sort of makes it sound like, do you kind of get the nature of the question? I'm not sure exactly how to frame it up.
Yeah, that has to do with levels of self, levels of conscious agency, which is one of my very favorite topics of all time. Probably that's the next book I'll be working on, because it's so important. Because like for myself, I might think I'm one person. I usually talk about myself like I'm one, but the truth is I'm like a layer cake. And if you look at the chakras, there'd be 7 chakras within the body. If you just look at your the neurons in your brain, the neurons in your heart, the neurons in your gut, well, there's 3 levels right there. Are they in alignment is a good question. If they are, then it's much easier to be all of one piece when you're making a choice about what's going on with a particular choice. Is it the best for you, or is it something that you're just selfishly choosing because you think that you want it because someone else that you're jealous of wants it? If that's what's driving the whole so-called choice, it's inadequate and you're out of alignment, because then your heart's not in it, your gut's not in it. The rest of you knows better, and you'll be stopping yourself. The subconscious actually runs the show. That's the gut. And so it knows what you need. And if you think like, I'm going to outsmart it, I'm going to have my little picture of what I'm manifesting, and I'm going to just run it that way, and I'll tell my subconscious what to do. It has a mind of its own. It's there for a reason. That subconscious, like I said, it runs the show. It knows what you need. And it's a big mistake to try to override it. So that is what I see. So when there are people who think like, this is what the timeline I'm choosing, but am I going to shortchange myself? Am I going to create something wrong? No, you can't create something wrong if you're in alignment, because then all of you is on board, and you can get to know what that feels like by meditating to tune in to the neurons in your gut, the neurons in your heart, and the neurons in your head. They're all in your body, so those are easy. And then for people that meditate a lot, they can start observing from a level of higher conscious agency, which gets closer to being the eternal infinite self, the observer. So if you read a book like The Untethered Soul, for example, which reads like one big exercise, and then you keep noticing, oh, my thoughts are not me. My feelings, that's not me. Then who am I? You are that observer. And if you're really good at that, you can be that infinite, eternal observer, that one between the lives, like I love to be so much. And when you recognize you are that, wow, I do recommend that quite highly. So anybody that feels called to do that, awesome. And then there won't be any glitches of being out of alignment or choosing the so-called wrong timeline or having something go a little wonky. It won't go wonky because your subconscious will match your eternal infinite self. Everything's lined up. And if you just keep asking how good can it get because you don't know what you're doing, that works beautifully with the high self and the subconscious, and everything lines right up.
So what I love Cynthia Larson. Sometimes I do have to listen to her a few times because I am not I don't hold a doctorate in quantum physics. Excuse me. Sorry, I got a frog in my throat. All right, so sometimes she can kind of speak beyond me, and if you're anything like me, sometimes I need it simplified. And so what I've been able to do through quantum healing hypnosis technique and dealing with a lot of clients is learning how to simplify what these great minds are saying, where Bashar is really ahead of us, and Cynthia Larson, the doctorate in quantum physics, is well ahead of me. I need it simplified. And so from this perspective, what you need to do is understand that the universe is, like she said, is very participatory, very responsive. Anything that you are putting out, you are receiving back. So it's key to remember that just like a computer that runs on ones and zeros, which means resistance and non-resistance, in order to get to the place where your soul is vibrating with, you have to get out of your own way. And how you do that is identify the resistance. And then ask yourself, as you're going to sleep at night, say, you're going to sleep at night and suddenly you feel fearful of something. Ask, is this an illusion? Is it time to let it go? Sometimes it's that old energy that begins to bubble up as we go to sleep at night that has nothing to do with your life today, that hasn't been let go yet. So when that happens, as you're going to sleep at night, take in your deep breaths. Remember, you must calm down the autonomic nervous system, breathing in through the nose, holding it, and then exhaling through your mouth. Allow it to go. And then say, I release you. Or if you can identify the emotion that is tied to this memory, you can say, get out, get out, get out now. And just focus on that. And know, and replace that. Replace it with a positive. Isn't it nice that I learned that lesson and I'm now allowing it to go? It is in the allowing, which is non-resistance, allowing that thing that no longer affects you, get out. Now, the thing of it is, if you find yourself still feeling that way, then the subconscious mind is actually telling you, you've not really dealt with that yet. So we need to have a conversation with the subconscious. And you can do that. You can do that, but just sort of quieting yourself at night and saying, what is it that is causing me to feel this way? And remember, the subconscious mind will say, or you will hear it in your mind within the first 7 to 8 seconds. After that, it's the conscious mind kicking in. That is pure science. We know this. So we don't have to get into that today, but just know that those first thoughts into your mind is your subconscious mind speaking to you. Now, when you know you're in alignment, when you ask a question, and she's talking about, feel it out, your gut. Feel out your gut. Remember, how many of us say, well, I had that gut feeling and was right. Why didn't I listen to it? That's very true and scientifically proven. So what is happening is the question you ask, any question you have in life, the first step is to calm yourself down by breathing, to calm down the autonomic nervous system. Focus on one thing for, a minute. I love my dog. Say that over and over because you're trying to empty out the mind. And then you say, whatever that question is, and then you feel the answer. Your body will never ever lie to you. Your gut feeling, or how your body feels, is answering you, and it is communicating with the subconscious mind, which is why we end up ill or sick or disease, is that we don't listen to our subconscious mind. And our body speaks to us through the subconscious. So if your body is tight, the answer is no. If the body feels light and it feels expansive, the answer is yes. Now, that's how you begin to tap into the superhuman that's you. If you need help, remember I'm here. Just visit sallyknott.com and we can begin talking about it. We can help you get rid of the old stuff. If you need a little bit more help, I'll give you tips. And remember, you are superhuman. You got this. It's just a matter of learning how it all works. So with that, I hope that you like this. Please hit the subscribe button if you want more content like what we're going to be bringing up in the future, and hit the like button. And I hope you have a fabulous day. Thank you for watching.